Symmetry. I love symmetry. I'm not sure exactly why, but I've loved it ever since I was a kid. Most children are messy, forgetful of their things. Not me. I knew everything had its right place in my room, and everything was right where it belongs. My parents didn't have it. My grandparents didn't have it either. Not a single person in my family had it. I've started referring to it as it because I truly believe it's a thing inside of me. A stowaway that shouldn't be there but lives inside of me. It's a need. A desire. A longing to be perfect, but perfect on both sides. As an adult, I'm to the point where I can't live my life normally. I can't keep a job, women don't stay with me because they can't handle it. Honestly, I don't care when they leave. They're messy and they make things difficult. They roll over onto my side of the bed instead of staying on their own. They leave dishes in one side of the sink, but not the other. I can't work anymore, so when they leave for the day, I have to stay home and fix everything. It's a relief when they're gone for good. That feeling never lasts, though. Eventually it comes back and finds something else that needs fixing. You may be asking, why would I seek out relationships to begin with if I can't even stand them? Well, it's hard for me to sleep in the middle of the bed all night without moving. But other than the relationship problem, my life is pretty much in order. I say pretty much because there is, in fact, one last issue that must be dealt with. You see, I have what's called heterochromia iridium, or two differently colored irises. My right eye was cornflower blue, and my left, pale green. Both my parents have cornflower blue eyes, my siblings and cousins as well. My green eye is the broken one. It makes me, well, unbalanced. Every time I look at myself in the mirror, it stares right back at me. It's all I can think about now. Everything is in its right place, except for my green little mistake. It didn't hurt at first when I dug the spoon under my eye. It didn't even hurt when it popped out and was hanging by my cheek. Was it shock that was keeping the pain away, or was it it? I snipped the optic nerve and blotted the warm fluids that were streaming down my face. My vision being cut in half was a strange sensation. What was left of the dangling flesh I placed back into the now empty hole. I bandaged up the wound and rinsed the spoon. And I went back to sleep. Later I woke up. Happy. I slept better than I had in years, for God's sake. It was finally done. I was fixed. I got out of bed and stumbled over to the bathroom. My body was aching and my head was on fire. I flipped the light to the bathroom and the light was completely just blinding. Anyway, I slowly removed the bandage that was soaked with blood and was sticking to my face like tape. When I looked into the mirror, my stomach churned. Only then I had realized what I had done. And I couldn't believe it. There was a hole on the left side of my face. But not the right. I was unbalanced. Again. It was much harder digging out the second eye. My hands were shaky, and when I dug the spoon in, I missed several times, puncturing my pupil 3 times before I got it in the right place. Once the eye popped out, I reached for my scissors to finish the job. The blood from the previous night had dried on the blade, so the scissors didn't cut very well. You know when you were in elementary school as a kid, and your teacher made you cut construction paper for art projects? Did you ever by any chance try to cut too many pieces at once, but the scissors couldn't take it? blades would kind of fold over each other and the paper would get pinned beneath them. That's what happened to my eye. The optic nerve was pinned between the two blades, and it was stuck, and as I tried desperately and frantically to make it unstuck, I slipped on the blood and started falling to the floor. Reflexes kicked in, and I let go of my eye to try to break my fall with my hand. The weight on the stuck scissors and my hanging eye was unbearable. I knew I couldn't stand it long enough to make it to the kitchen to get a knife, so I pulled. I pulled it straight out of my head. I felt the flesh tear from inside of my skull, and I felt it rip and spew liquids everywhere. I knew I was crying, but there was no telling the tears from the blood from the ocular fluid, for God's sake. And when I heard the wet slap of bloody flesh against the tile floor, I knew it was done. I knew I was done. I could now live my life without having to see people's awful, messy, uneven lives. The relief washed over me, and I knew it would last this time. I'd never felt this way before. Never had this much hope. As I laid in my bathroom on that cold, wet, sticky tile, I smiled for the first time in years. Dictated, but not read.